Good morning, here is Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It's Friday the 11th of August. Looking forward to the weekend. We'll start with S&P 500 as usual. A lot of volatility during the day between the resistance and the support at 44.55, but we ended more or less unchanged below the rising trend line and a few points above the support line here. So it's still holding on, and it could be range bound here the next couple of days, but I think we will see a break to the downside. But it's not unlikely to also see a break to the upside, but the trend will still be down until we take out the previous peak there. On the Nasdaq, closed a little bit higher, but it was also after some volatility during the day, and we are in a downtrend, a correction. It's still interesting to see what will happen with the RSI. Will it break below 40 or not, or should we have a little bit of bounce before the next move lower, which I think we will see, regardless of that the RSI might bounce from the 60 level, or sorry, the 40 level. Okay, moving on to DAX. Closed yesterday just a few points below the 16,000 key resistance level, opening here today around the cloud. So we're still in a bearish trend. RSI below 40. We should move lower, but I think we will see a couple of days where we will just basically be moving sideways. If we can close back above the 16,000, then we could see a move towards the gap here, probably trying to close it. But the jury is still out on this one. We are in a downtrend, very short term. AEX Amsterdam here spiked up. Trying to close the gap, but wasn't really near the 61.8 retracement and 782. The sentiment is still bullish, so it is still hanging in there. The AEX, but looks a little bit heavy, but we are in a bullish trend. So wait until we have another break below 768 and. Preferably also below the 763 before taking any short position. So it seems quite resilient. The Belgian market, not really much. They're a little bit lower today. We'll probably try to close the gap here going into next week. CAC40. Very strong move yesterday, closed the gap, very strong, and we could see it to resume. It has actually resumed the uptrend. Whether it can take out the 75.26 previous peak here and move towards the all-time high remains to be seen. But there is the indicator saying that, and so it looks fairly strong to say the least, for at least for now. So. It will be a little bit tough to go against the uptrend right there. Moving on to the FX markets as usual, we have euro dollar. Seems to be caught in this range between 109.30 level and the just below 111. Can't really make it mind up, and we have the medium-term moving average coming up here supporting. Got rejected at 21 yesterday, so it could take a little bit of time before we get any direction, which I still believe will be to the upside, indicated by the bullish RSI. Again, if it breaks below, closes below 109.28, well, then that picture will be reversed. Same picture or opposite picture, obviously, on the dollar index, still below the cloud, hovering around this 78.6 retracement at 102.41. I still believe we will see it moving lower with the 200 coming down. We have the 55 coming down, the 100 being a little bit neutral here. But we could see also here some range-bound activity the next week or so. The dollar yen, it should have been. Sorry about that. Here we are. Dollar yen very close to 145, which I think will be a quite strong resistance to penetrate, and it might not succeed in the first attempt. I think we will see a test of it here possibly today or Monday, but I think we will see a setback back to 143, possibly dipping down to 142.5 before it might have another go. As we can see here on the weekly chart, we are in an uptrend, but it would be confirmed if it takes out the 145. RSI bullish, no divergence, indicating higher levels medium term on dollar yen. So 145, is likely to be taken out, but it won't be without a struggle. We have euro yen that went straight through the 158, strong resistance yesterday. Very strong resistance, and that is very significant that it has been taken out. 160, spot 60 is the 138.2 projection of this correction here, I would call it. We are in an uptrend, and there is room to at least that, and possibly also higher, possibly up to around 163 level on the euro yen. So quite weak there. So something has to give. Cable still struggling, basically moving sideways between the 128 and 126. We need a break in any direction from there. It's really indecisive at the moment. RSI still bullish, hasn't broken below 40, but it is testing it. So that's going to be interesting here going into next week. In which direction will it move? And jury's still out on this one. Really hard to guess. Gold's still hopping around the jumping around the 86 retracement at 1913. Looks quite depressed at the moment. Actually, technically, it is in a downtrend, and we could see it dip down to the 1900, possibly testing the previous low here from June at 1892. I would say the overall trend, the medium trend, is about to be neutral, and we could be range bound in a fairly tight range. No, sorry, a fairly wide range here for the foreseeable future. I think we'll bounce off the 1900. We have the 200 moving average coming up. I think we'll bounce it off and stay around these 1920, 19 up to 1950 for the next week or two, possibly. The silver, a little bit heavy. 22.15 is the support there, so not really much going on. No news there. Whereas copper is starting, it's continuing to selling off, and very close to the 370 support, which I think actually will be taken out. But let's do a trend line anyway, or a support line around that level. I would place it there at the closing price, 370 around that level, and we could see a move down to 360, 356. So copper quite heavy. Oil market, quite interestingly, the Brent has been rejected at the 88.19 resistance, quite strong resistance. And I think we will see a correction here over the next couple of days, dipping down to 83, 82, possibly touching the 200 moving average. But we have the medium-term ones, 55 and 100, come up here, adding some support. So it could be range-bound between those levels here for the next couple of weeks before we see a breakout. More or less the same picture on WTI. It actually did close above 83.50 yesterday, but I would like to see a weekly close above, as you can see here, which is a quite significant level also on the RSI. Can it close above 60 or not? If it can't, well, then I think we will see a setback here over the next week or two, possibly down to the 79, possibly dipping down to the 200 moving average level. Finally, on the US 10-year, bounced off the 50% retracement. Yesterday we are back above 4%, back around 4.1%. The uptrend is still intact, but if we take the lows from yesterday out, it could be in jeopardy, and we could dip down to the 382 level. But for now, we are in an uptrend with some resistance around 420, 422. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice weekend when you get to that, and happy trading.